Greetings, my beloved Black people. Welcome back to the plight and struggle of Black people in America. As always, we always have special guests when we have guests. And we have really special guests today because we're creating some things today. As a matter of fact, we're going to bring our guests in and we're going to let them introduce themselves. And I want to see if I can get Brother Melvin to tell us about the National Alliance movement that he's creating.
Well, the National Alliance is an organization, the National Alliance for Positive Action, that was actually created back in 1999 when we were doing civil rights. Me, Earl, Floyd Hutchinson, Al Sharpton, Jesse Jackson, and Najee Ali, amongst others. And we had created an organization that did civil rights, violence across America and so forth on a national level. We were civil rights activists. But now we have revitalized it. And I'm going to turn the mic over to Miss Barbara, and she can explain you the vision and the plans of it now as a spokesperson for it. So, Barbara, could you explain the National Alliance for Positive Action along with Credible Messenger and the plan?
Sure. Good evening, everyone. My name is Barbara Gaskins. I'm actually a nationally certified reentry professional I've been working on the field of reentry for many years now. I've currently written several books, one in which is the North Carolina pre-release blueprint that has been approved to go into 8 prisons within the state. From that, I also founded a nonprofit, North Carolina Community Outreach and Wellness Center Incorporated. That nonprofit specifically, I wrote a grant with U.S. Department of Justice for the Project Safe Neighborhoods, and we've been approved for the grant. And so what that grant is we are to build upon the credible messengers and create credible messengers. So really not to disrupt the wheel that was already turning, but really just to add on and to uplift, people like Melvin, people like Akil Bashir and Piru Ayatollah Mark. Just to uplift the work that they've already been doing. I am a huge advocate for restorative justice and justice reform. And, what better way to heal our community than to have people that are closest to the problem help us create solutions.
Excuse me, I kind of hear some interference. Is there something else on in somebody's background, like a TV or anything? Because I hear some echoing sound. Okay, maybe that's what it was. Okay. I know we heard feedback the whole time.
Go ahead.
Okay.
No,
Go ahead, Barbara. He's saying you could.
I don't want to. We have to store. Go ahead. Continue on.
He's talking to you, Barbara, I believe.
Okay. So in a nutshell, our goals for the program is to reduce incidences of violent crimes, promote public safety, and in turn, improve the quality of life for those individuals and communities affected by violence and those in marginalized and disenfranchised communities.
So as far as that information you just spoke about, if somebody has a need for that, where could they contact someone for some assistance?
Sure. They are more than welcome to contact myself at 252-495-3173, or you can email bdgaskins@bsu.edu. And Melvin can also provide his contact or email.
Okay, sounds good. You want to add anything to that, Melvin?
Now, with that, Now, with that being said, that is our mission statement, basically. Now, let's talk about some of the things that we do when it comes to criminal justice reform, as well as redefining our community and what an actual credible messenger is. A credible messenger is an organization of like men, like myself, like you. It ain't about being a tough guy. It's about guys that have lived a life, men, women, and children that have lived a life, because it starts very young. That is an organization across the nation. Some of our members are Fred Hampton Jr. out of Chicago, Triple C's, Black Panthers, Gangster Disciples. Those are members.
Okay.
New York, we have Joy Badass, Fabio Forn, Sean Stevenson from End of Violence out of Columbus, Ohio. Antonio Tester from the New York Gambino crime family. Ruben Saldino from Florida. Reginald Washington from San Diego. Itola Marvin from Compton. Jeff Fort's daughter out of Chicago, Doctor. So we have a Flitney, King Tone, the Latin Kings. These are all guys that have been instrumental in violence or the destruction or the adverse conditions when it comes to violence. So credible messengers deal with that, but they also do civil rights as far as prisoners' rights and victims' rights as well, because we're trying to stop the cycle of violence that go on. So as she so eloquently said, who can be better than those that can reach back to the community that has been closest to the problem? So we're not coming with complaints. We're coming with solutions to the problem. And one of our plots is we must create dialogue. Too many times these platforms are being dominated by rap, the hip hop culture, and we also feel that this is going against the grain on what we're trying to do in a positive manner, to where it has been corporized, to where they think this is the only voices that matters, rappers, actors, entertainers, athletes, when we have a lot of heroes that are doing the work in these marginalized, disenfranchised communities that are risking their lives, their freedom, to give back for something that they once was the problem of. So when we're doing this, we're doing it from the spirit of our heart and not from the pockets in our pockets, the money in our pockets. And that's what the National Alliance's Positive Action is about. Grassroots organizations, no names, no cuts, no titles.
Okay, we lost your sound. We can't hear you, Melvin.
Hello?
Okay, you came back. We had
Can
lost
you hear
you for a
me?
moment. Yes, sir. We can hear you now.
Yes, sir. So that's what the National Alliance Positive Action is about. And also we address the issue of hip and its culture and its present stage, to where we feel also when we go and put our thinking caps on, where we want you to think twice when it comes to your civil rights and the language that's being depicted not only on social media, but it's coming out on a lot of these lyrics that are influencing a lot of young children. We address that also. And Ms. Barber can explain to you about our other section and committee that we have that addresses hip hop. And that's called the Hip Hop Coalition. And it's very important that our viewers understand this is a political action hip hop committee. So we're not hollering into the wind protesting. We have the authority and the right on the federal level to change laws, to write legislation, and therefore. So Barbara will tell you a little bit about that venture that we have going on.
That's great.
Okay, and actually, I'll pass that over to our president of the United Coalition for Hip Hop Culture.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is that who that? I didn't see you there. I see you. I didn't know if you was her husband or what. So I'm gonna keep my mouth shut. But if I
no, that's right.
But now that I see you here, I'm gonna refer to him.
But now that I know, yeah. So let's get this young man that had that great,
Good afternoon,
great
kings and
vision
queens. I say,
with hip hop.
yes, I'm the president of the United Coalition for Hip Hop Culture Coalition. I'm Barbara's supportive everything. What she said, I piggyback off everything she said, and engineered by day and supportive component of everything she's doing by night, noon, and morning. And also,
Sound about right.
I'm a DJ from the First Family Hip Hop Culture. So the word hip hop is kind of sort of distorted now because the music now I don't see as hip hop.
What do you see it as?
I call it rap. There's a difference.
Rap? Okay.
Because hip hop is something you live, rap is something you do. I mean, hip hop is something you live, and rap is something you do. As far as like the MC, meaning words you say are very powerful. Like Mr. Farmer said, hip hop, the rap music. So you know the difference. The rap music is distorting our people, not putting out the right messages as it was designed for in the beginning of the hip hop culture. In 73 and a little before, but 73 was around about the time where it became a culture, meaning 5 elements. I took these glasses off. Hurt my eye. So we have 5 elements of hip hop. We have the MC, which is the rapper. Now we have the B-boy, B-girl, which is the dancer. We have the aerosol or graffiti writers, which is the artist. We have the DJ, which is the one that plays the music, to move the crowd, and we have the number that combines everything and makes it a culture. So, why hip hop? Why hip hop? You asked that question. Why hip hop? Okay, hip hop, like everyone saying before, I started talking. It is a voice. We have a powerful voice. It started that expression from the youth, express what was going on in the community as a way to speak out. And now, 50 years later, it's a multi-billion, probably $1 trillion corporation. And it's very powerful. So, hip hop is a vehicle to express the things that we need to express as far as the information that we do need to get out to the youth and the adults also, because you're never too old to learn. So it's also a therapy. Hip hop is also it's a means of therapy. And I say that to say there's been times where you may be going through a situation, and there's this one song that gets you through that situation. That's basically therapy. So why hip hop?
Good question.
Why hip hop? Hip hop is an approach to mental health treatment that utilizes our music and our culture as a therapeutic medium. It can be viewed as an extension of music therapy as treatment by creating, singing, moving, and or listening to music. Music therapy is also used to provide avenues for communication that can be helpful to those who find it difficult to express themselves in words. So our youth are captivated by the so-called rap stars and what they're saying in their lyrics.
Mm-hmm.
I see it as not the right person to follow because it's not the expression of empowerment as the culture was created back in the 70s. Right. It was meant to empower our people, give them information, right information to know who they are, be happy at who you are, just different avenues, be it as being wisdom through the music, guidance, because some people didn't have parents, a father and a mother in the household, so it was the guidance, and also therapy, like I said before.
But like you said, that was the origin, and that was when the participants were pretty much determining what would be said or not.
Right.
But what had happened is when those Caucasian executives got involved and took over, they started saying things like, because I knew a brother here in Dallas that worked for Interscope, and he knew a young brother that had some songs, and he brought them. And they were good songs, but the Interscope executive said, no, you got to put some cussing in there and some this and some that. And he said that brother bought it back. It had all kind of cussing stuff in it. So we need to talk about the industry being the one that's making it go that route, because they determine what's said or not. Because, you know, when we were growing up, cussing wasn't even allowed on TV and radio and stuff.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
But now,
so
let's talk about a little hip hop and its history a little bit deeper too. Let's go a little bit step further. I have a history of being in the hip hop game intimately since it started when I'm an original founding member of Grand Jury Records. That's with Michael Conception, Steve, Grand Jury Record. We started off, we made talking about the lyrics, the contents when we all in the same game. Right with along with Boogie Down Production and Nothing But Self-Destruction, KRS-One. That was us that made that video where we are discussing the same issues that we're talking about today. Back then, it was the image of the Crips, the Bloods, the gangster lean, because now we're getting into gangster rap to where when rap started in New York, it was breakdancing and street rap. This is the message, Melly Mel, African Bambaataa, Zulu Nation, Curtis Blow, all those guys is who we started when they started coming to Hollywood. So with that in mind, when we were doing it, the industry was taking like Dirty Rotten Scandals, DSR. They made This Is Nothing, This Is For the Homie, Lamar and Lubin. These were just regular choir guys singing in the church. Back when they made that song where you see them dressed like they gang members and everything else, in actuality, that was the image. And on our This All in the Same Gang, this was our lineup, which would be the All-Stars or All-Star, the Dr. Dre's or whoever they imitate and idolize. We had MC Hammer. We got Young MC. We got Tone Low. We got Trey 5-7. We got Ice-T. We got Dr. Dre making the beats. We got Jewel before she even go to Death Row. She's on the other part. We had the West Coast Rappers and we had the West Coast All-Stars. And prior to that, now we getting where we go to Teddy Riley and New Jack Swing. Because that's how we get in the game. Because Mike say, man. And now he got Kendrick Lamar and all those guys that nobody's bigger than Michael Conception and lasted the longest in the industry on the West Coast. Nobody. When it comes to gangsterism, we used to be at Tower Records before Interscope was even around. When NWA DOC had a wreck, we was at a game. So I've been around this game and has watched how it changed, but it's always been black exploitation is a better example and a word. Now it's corporatized to where they're characters with really singing and talking about things where they have no vested interest in the community. I didn't grow up in a single family home where my mama was a hoe and my daddy was a pimp. I didn't grow up where we was listening to bitches, hoes, this and that in that area. And so gradually they started to making it to where talented people are being real talent. I don't seen Melly Mel from the Message Made the Message. When you go see these old hip hop records perform and see these rappers, real OGs, original artists of hip hop, these today's rappers can't stand up next to them.
Not at all.
Live get down. You can't do it. These guys were very talented. And now we're being misused. We got Nike that realized, hey man, because of this culture, this gang culture, we know now that the LA Dodger hats are blue. This is how you're being used by the corporations also. So why don't we make a LA hat that's red? Because we know that the Bloods ain't gonna buy it, and that's how they misuse us also. So it's a lot of Black exploitation of the Black community that is adversely affect us, and who really is reinvesting back in our communities. We are having gentrification, where other races are mounting up and they're voting out Black elected officials, putting in their race in there. It's a lot of more things that's going on in these communities that need to be addressed that are just as severe. Mental health, homelessness, despair, poverty. Who stand up for these people?
Nobody.
We do.
Yeah.
We do.
We do.
Right. We do, but I'm talking
Yeah.
about collective
Yeah,
national
but
effort.
collectively,
Yeah.
those that are in position that should be helping us, it's not going to the right place. We
They
need
should
to have
have funds for that.
Yeah.
and
Right.
that's what the National Alliance of Positive Action need to be sitting right there, whether it's with the NAACP or the President of the United States. That's the level we play on.
Yes.
Right.
And I'll say when it comes to hip hop was ours. You know, regardless of, you know, some of us learn different ways. And to me, the elements of hip hop correspond with each level of, you know, how you may learn. You know, if you're MC, then, you know, you learn by speaking. If you're an artist, you learn by drawing. And like I said, it was ours. But as with everything that, you know, we get our hands on, it ends up being infiltrated. And through that infiltration, that's kind of what we have today. So we no longer have the Melly Males or the KRS-Ones telling us, you know, the positive things, or telling us, you know, what they've been through and how they've succeeded. We now have, you know, our drill music. We have, you know, rappers telling us, you know, what guns to buy or what they've done, you know, the night before, or, you know, telling on themselves. So
I'd like to say this right quick, though. We're talking a lot about the participants of the development and the performing of the music, but the main culprits are the executives that are pushing this stuff. So let's talk about, they need to be held accountable for allowing this. What happened to the finding of radio stations for having this language? It's like that went out the window. I saw a group in New York. It was a huge group, and they were on this topic of the FAA, I think it is, to handle that business. And they had a big old to-do, a lot of reputable names and all this good stuff, but nothing has happened. But it needs to be noted to the masses of our people, these Caucasian executives at the top are making sure that this drill music, murder music, and any kind of music that hurt our people, they're making sure that's the primary music. And we need to do something about it.
Oh, yes. I've actually had discussion with Robbie Seabrook. He was the record executive who got on YouTube and was talking out or saying
I think I saw that. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, I contacted him directly because
Okay,
I'm like, I agree with you. But, you know, now moving forward as a Black female, I don't want to hear, you know, bitches and whores and stuff. I don't want to hear that. We need to, you know, collectively find ways to, you know, take our music back. And more so, that's what we're trying to do with the United Coalition for Hip Hop Culture. We're trying to use hip hop in a positive manner so that we can take it as a way to speak up and speak out against the injustices going on in our communities, to talk to us, to talk to Black people about getting out to vote and let them know your vote does count.
Absolutely.
But, you know, you have to be strategic, you know, when it comes to voting. You have to get out. You have to know who you're voting for. You have to know why you're voting for them. Yeah. And so, you know, we have to take some responsibility as well. But when it comes to music, we as parents have to step up and say, I don't want my kids listening to this. How do I stop this music? Like you said, let's go to these executives. Let's say Dr. King led a boycott for a year and stuff got done. It's
right. So we have to create our strategies. Yeah.
Yeah. Even down to voting. You know, I'm wanting to push because honestly, I am a Democrat, but I'm sick of the party. You know, I'm tired of them pimping our vote. You know, when it comes to our vote, we normally, when you turn 18, we're told go register to vote, register as a Democrat. But to this day, we don't know why.
I'd like to see Black people create their own party.
There you go.
That would be even better. And then we just vote in the blocks where
Yes.
we determine we want to. So
Yes.
let them have their thing. Because I contend there's one party, the capitalist party. That Republican Democrat, that's a farce.
Exactly. It's one bird with two wings.
That's it. I'm glad you recognize it. Too many of our people don't recognize that. Sadly.
Yes. And I did run for Congress last cycle. So I learned quite a bit.
Oh, okay.
But
I
yeah,
bet you
we as
did.
people, it's time to stand up and not just sitting out voting, because in the end, like Melvin has said, people are seeing who votes. And if it's not Black people voting, if we're not voting, then they're going to other races. They're going to their constituents to get them to get out and vote for them. So therefore, we have to stand up and say, this is who we want, or we have to say this is not who we want. But either way, we have to get out and we have to make our voice heard.
And try to keep our people motivated, because you've noticed under certain conditions, like I don't know if you remember, this white guy in Louisiana, he was supposed to be a racketeer, but his opponent was David Duke. Black people was wrapped around the block to vote that time. Do you remember that? David Duke was the Grand Wizard of the Ku Klux Klan, was running against
I
the white
remember
guy
that incident
in Louisiana, and that guy wasn't good either. But they said we be darned if we gonna let a Ku Klux Klan wizard get in, and Black folks got and did their business. Made sure he didn't get in there.
We need that, because we're here in North Carolina, and right now this Democrat, or so-called Democrat, Trisha Cotham, we'll call her name. She ran as a Democrat in Charlotte, North Carolina, which is mainly, an African-American community. It's a Democrat district. She ran as a Democrat, pimped our vote to get in, and she just did a press release saying that she was switching parties. So she's not right. So
is that the person you ran against? Is that the person you ran against?
No, I ran against Greg Murphy.
Okay, someone else. Okay.
Yeah.
See, but check it out. That's what we got to inform our people about, the tricks. Experience I had here in Dallas, Texas. I was 32 the first time I voted back in 92. And I was wondering, okay, should I vote a straight ticket? Does it make sense to vote a straight ticket? Okay. I did it. As soon as I did it, I could feel my answer. That was dumb. I'm like, I don't know who I voted for, who I voted against. I couldn't even get out the building, but why I couldn't see it before I did it, I would never know. But
that's what we're trying to do with the PAC. We're trying to utilize that to teach people, because I think, our people perish because of lack of knowledge. We're no longer taught in school, the three branches of government, something that simple. We don't understand that, we can go talk to our mayor. Our mayor is right in town. We could possibly get to our state officials, but federally, we can't really touch those. So we have to vote on each level. In order to, make a difference, or in order for something to happen. And
we have to understand the voting, because part of my example too. Okay, 92, I did that. 93, I'm not about to do it, right? I'm sorry, 96, it was for the election of the presidents. Okay, but here locally, they had a district attorney race too. And this Caucasian guy was going for re-election. And we had local Black political leaders telling us to vote straight Democrat. But guess what? When I went to that race for the district attorney's office, he had one opponent. But that opponent was a libertarian. Which means when we voted straight Democrat, we didn't even vote against this racist DA. So I say, oh, this is some game here. And that's when I registered Republican. But I only did it to promote Black political balance. Because you don't lump up in one party. Unfortunately, Mexicans are more astute politically than Black people in America.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
And you know that's wrong.
And Republicans are working to get their votes. Republicans, they want their vote quicker than they want our vote.
But I'm just saying, we ain't been playing it properly. That's
no, we have not. We don't understand that we're playing a game of chess.
Well, we got to get our people to understand, so we need to school them and tell them what we need.
Exactly. And once again, that's what this PAC is for. we're trying to build political power amongst ourselves. Last year we've had a lot of organizations. I do a lot of grassroots organizing, and one organization was did unlock our vote. So over 55,000 individuals, formerly incarcerated individuals, rights were restored.
Wow, that's great.
So
That's great.
yeah, we are trying to utilize this PAC to build.
No, you're doing it. You're not trying. You're doing it. You just haven't grew it to its capacity, but
Yes.
you're doing it already.
Yes.
And that's great too. That's a great thing.
Let me speak a little bit about politics. When it comes to political parties and so forth, you know, we've been marching civil rights from water hoses to chokeholds, Democrats or Republicans. What really has changed in America? You know, we're caught up in every presidential election where they uses the same theories as of now: terrorism, the war on drugs, and gun violence. When it comes to blacks, it's gun laws. When it comes to handling the violence in America, they create gun laws that incarcerate the brown and the black. But when it comes to gun rights, when it comes to violence and the whites, it's gun rights. Did you have the right to own it because you're dealing with NRA, the National Rifle Association, one of arguably the most powerful lobbyists in America. Then you got the Teachers Association, which used to be right up there with them. So we have to start thinking about the power of the vote. Earlier, I had said that out here in Los Angeles, which is one of the most corrupt political machines that is going on here, because we have a system of nepotism.
Mm-hmm.
While he's coming
Something
back,
happened on his end, yeah.
I'll mention if as something that, you know, a lot of us don't know, NRA was actually against guns when the Black Panthers actually were having
they even changed the law in California,
exactly.
Right? So
exactly.
yeah, and that's the unfortunate part. That I don't understand why blacks wouldn't be more united, because we get treated worse than everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And we're the least united. It should be just the opposite. We should be the most united people in this nation.
Well, they use us against us.
Right.
Yeah, but we should be able to bust that up. You mean we ain't sharp enough to get them out of our face and our space? Right. We are. But sadly, what the biggest tool they have to do that is those sellouts and those bought and paid for. Now, Melvin mentioned the water hose and the police dogs and all that. Guess what? The brother that was filming that stuff, when he died, he was an FBI informant. They informed us that, yes, that's what he was. The same brother that was filming all of that. And sadly, there's a couple more brothers still living. I think when they go, we're going to find out that they're in the midst too. What you got, Melvin?
Wow.
You guys, Melvin must be having a problem with his equipment, it's looking like. Because he came back and, you know, we was already talking, so we're going to keep talking. But I heard him say something, but he going again. But yeah, this coalition concept that y'all have put together is a great concept, great idea. And we can utilize it, and we definitely need to inform our people of these things that we're talking about, because so many people probably learned a few things just now that they had no idea. Because that straight ticket stuff ain't no good. That's a game. That's a game. That's a game. But it'll be so many people, many black people that say they Democrats and that's supposed to be us. But this is what I heard. When we were Republicans, because you know that Abraham Lincoln thing, whatever. Then I heard that they said the one guy, I think it was Delano Roosevelt, whichever one of them Roosevelt say, I'll give you a chicken and I'm gonna have a chicken in every pot. They say that's when we went Democrat. And I'm like, what's chicken?
Wow. Right.
That's what I heard.
Right.
You ever heard that story?
Wow.
So I don't know what happened with Malcolm. He was there for a minute. I agreed, click him back in, and he disappeared again. So I'm thinking he's having equipment trouble. That's what I would think. I wouldn't think he was doing it on purpose. But so how long have you been in this political scene? Is this your first election?
This was my first run for Congress.
Okay.
Yeah, I've actually been organizing for years now, though. So a lot of it, as I said, has been on the ground. Doing voter registration, I was one of the first to actually explain to our sheriff's departments or our detention centers that an individual that's incarcerated in the detention center does not necessarily lose their rights to vote if they're just being detained, because it's pre-trial. So therefore, they are eligible to receive, the absentee ballots or to, vote that way as well.
So they're doing a lot with trying to stop the vote of our people, what it looks like.
Oh, yes.
And I'm
yes.
pretty sure it's on the national. Yeah, it looks like, because everywhere else they just let the people be lazy. It look like y'all are under attack over there.
Oh, yes. We are. That's
a terrible thing too. We gotta do something about that.
Yes.
Yeah. So I don't know what's happening with Melvin. We'll see if he makes it back. And I really appreciate y'all coming. And this topic and subject is very important. Absolutely. And if we can get our people to maybe join in, and maybe they can come and be a guest of the guests and stuff like that. You can get some community examples of people that maybe saw and now see what they didn't see before, because communication can make a world of difference.
Yes, absolutely.
A world of difference.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And like I said, just connecting, because you may have, to me, everybody is a piece of a bigger puzzle.
Right.
Everybody has something to offer. So
that's what I always believe. One person can make a difference.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So with Melvin being gone so long, I don't know if his equipment is just terribly damaged, or if even maybe his battery ran out. That's a possibility.
Right.
I think he might have been on his telephone, I believe. So,
the hip hop music is a way to connect to the youth also.
Absolutely.
We have some youth that want to do stuff in the community and they don't know how, because they don't want that label as their lane, because they're doing the right thing. Or I
got a feeling the bigger problem is adults of older generations have not been communicating and trying to get with our younger generations to school.
Hey, come back on.
Sadly, it's been where
we saw you come on but didn't hear anything. Then you hung up.
Okay. I thought she was talking to me. She's talking to Melvin, I guess.
Yes.
And sadly, you have too many people that they're just caught up in whatever society guides them to. And that's how I think we got from rap hip hop to what they're calling murder music now.
Right. Trill.
It's like, what you call it?
Trill music. They call it trill music.
And you say that with a T or a D?
With a T.
It's drill.
It's two.
Okay.
It's trill and drill. It's two. Trill and drill.
And both of them talking about killing?
The same thing. I shot him. I shot him with, how many bullets I shot in him.
Yeah.
Everything.
And that's the unfortunate part. We got to come up with a strategy to make those people have to be accountable for pushing all of these ill things. I mean, it doesn't make sense that nobody's going after the top dog that is giving the approval of this. Why are we only at ourselves? We got to get at those people that's giving the go-ahead to, go ahead, put it on.
Because I was going to say, what's interesting is if we know, or if we think about it, somebody, here, I don't know if it's there, but if someone dies from fentanyl and you sold it to them or what have you, then you could be held liable for that too. So why not? Why can that, why can't we have that with this?
That's what it should be. That's what it should be. But the reason, because their plan is to target us. And you brought that up about I forget that drug name, but it's interesting. When I was growing up in Philadelphia in the 60s and 70s, heroin was the epidemic drug. But when people died, they didn't even care that they died. Over here in Dallas, Texas, in Plano, is an area called Caucasians. It started about 10 years ago or more. That's when they started, when the white kids start dying, they want to find out, who sold it to them. Before, they didn't even care that the brother died. Now they want to find out who sold it to them. I saw a case here in Dallas. It's in this weekly paper, the Caucasian paper, instead of the Black Observer. What it was, a brother has white friends, okay? Now, you know how the game go. If I fly y'all by, okay? So the brother got the money from the white folks, their friends, went and bought the drugs, came back, somebody OD'd. They investigate and they told him what happened. Homie went and got. They trying to charge him just because he went and bought it.
Wow.
Because he was black. They wouldn't have did that if he was a white boy. You know that. Yeah, they tried to charge, and I don't know if they succeeded, made a stick. They had him charged. I didn't follow up because he went and bought it. But he was a smoker or whatever they was using. He was using the drug too. But he gets in trouble because he went and got it, but y'all gave him the money.
Right. And what boggles me is how the crack epidemic was handled, but this fentanyl epidemic is handled a completely different way. And
it's like, because of who the victims are?
Oh, yeah. We know.
Let's keep it real. Let's keep it real. Let's talk it real, too.
Yes.
And right. I'm glad you mentioned names because my thing is this. I hate when people say something about something and say, I ain't going to say no name. I'll be like, well, won't you just don't tell me nothing?
Exactly.
Right. You know, that don't make sense. How are we not going to want to point the culprits out?
Exactly.
Especially when we're talking about people that's hurting our people.
Yes.
That's so ridiculous. See, what we got to realize, we got a lot of double agents. And we don't know who any of them are probably. Well, we don't know who a lot of them are. Let's say that. Because Al Sharpton is obviously one. So we don't know who a lot of them are. We don't know who most of them are. But there's plenty. And you know, sadly, apparently they'll convert somebody, you know, because you try to bring into your serious circle people that you know their character and you know what they're made of. But apparently they'll get the offering a certain person a deal, maybe he's in trouble or maybe a bunch of money. And then they end up being a traitor. And then they do things because, you know, when the pencil was out originally, they did illegal things. This U.S. government writing letters and forging these brothers' signature, writing this letter to that group, and say it's this one, and have them killing each other. And that was illegal stuff. And see, this country, I don't understand why black people of all blacks don't realize America does not love their American blacks.
Right.
How we don't know that? So a lot of us don't. So we got to keep talking about it.
Yes.
Yeah. This nation does not love us.
Right.
So, but we got to do better at loving ourselves.
We do.
Right.
We do.
Start home. House got to be right before you start talking to other people.
And what I learned is all skin folk ain't kin folk.
Well, let's just keep it real. Everybody black ain't caring about blacks. Okay. Clarence Thomas is a perfect example. You feel me? So, but my thing is, I always say I'm in love with black people that love black people. Because not all black people love black people. And that guy is definitely one. Clarence Thomas on the U.S. Supreme Court does not care anything about black people in America. Period.
No.
His record speaks for itself. But too many people don't know nothing about nothing. For a long time, I was holding out hope. I say maybe he's waiting for a big something to try to do something for the people. When I saw that it was a brother, I forget what state, he was incarcerated wrongfully for years. Got out. That state didn't even want to pay this man compensated. He took it all the way to the Supreme Court. It got to the point where the vote was a tie except for Clarence Thomas' vote to break the tie. And he said, do not give him nothing. He said, because the reason don't give him nothing, he said, because the district attorney hadn't showed a pattern of this type of behavior.
Wow.
Pattern shouldn't take a pattern. One wrong is too many.
Exactly.
So when I saw that, I said, no, this guy don't care nothing about black people. But I am concerned about who were the other four that voted like that too. See, we need to find these things out and know who these people are and got to know what's going on before you can figure out who the people are. Too many of us don't know nothing about none of the stuff we talking about. You know, it's sad, but we got to be the ones that pull the masses to the knowledge that is necessary for people and keep it going. Just like Melvin said, not no one-time get-together. We keep it going.
Absolutely.
So maybe if it's a certain day of the week that y'all like, that y'all always free, we can make it a weekly, bi-weekly, whatever you want. We can make it happen.
Okay.
We got another motto called each one reach one, teach one.
Okay. What we going to teach them?
What we talking about right now? What they need to know, but they don't know.
I know that's right.
Simple mathematics. What they don't know, what they need to know.
That's right. That's what's up.
First family hip hop. Well, Melvin touched on it.
Okay.
Melvin touched on the first family hip hop was the Zulu Nation. They created the whole culture.
Okay, and I never heard of them. That's interesting. Yeah, I hate we lost Melvin, so I'm gonna have to assume it's somewhere's equipment because it came back a couple times, keep going out. I'm guessing maybe a battery, something like that. But I think this is definitely a good start.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And we'll just keep on doing it. And hopefully we'll get growing participation, get some more people attached to this coalition.
Absolutely.
We'll come back with more
Absolutely.
information to
And
get in
I'll,
touch and more data. With more data.
Okay. Sound
And
like a plan.
I'll send, hold on, let me send you the website, the link.
Okay.
Okay, that's the link for the website or for the
All right.
website.
So appreciate y'all.
All
So
right.
I'm sure we'll be speaking again soon.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's nice meeting you.
Likewise. And y'all have a great day. We're gonna wrap it up.
Sing it with me now. I love my people, beautiful black people. I love my people. I love my people.